is everybody?
Good.
Good. You ready to lift your frequency?
Yes.
Okay. So, where do you live? Do you live in your mind? Do you live on the earth, aware of everything in the world around you? Do you live with God? Everywhere we live, everywhere we focus our attention, we are gathering data. And that data becomes our source of reference. It's our information that teaches us how to live. Wherever we focus, we are giving energy, but we are also receiving energy from the area that we're focusing on. So metaphysical basic principles, everybody knows this, but you're going to hear it again, because I love to say it. You are energy. Yes.
Yes.
The key to the universe is intention.
Yes.
Intention is a beautiful energy of focused thought wrapped in desire that can make things happen. Energy follows thought. Energy, you are energy. Energy follows thought. Intention, when your thought and desire wrap together, becomes the key to the universal. And you can manifest whatever you desire. How powerful are you? Very powerful. When we shift our attention from one thing to another, do not we shift our frequency. And we can be focused on something absolutely wonderful, absolutely amazing, and just be on fire. And then shift our attention elsewhere. And the energy that we have been investing toward our goal freezes. It's not that we lose track, you don't lose ground, but it goes into frozen motion while you're now investing your energy in what you're focusing on. Do you understand? So, we don't lose, but where we choose, our energy now goes. This is why we live in the variety that we live in. And you all understand that, right? There's all kinds of things that we feel good about, then we feel bad, and when we feel bad about that, we feel bad about that too. Never mind that anymore. Then we look back to that, we feel good about that, now we feel good about this. Because we're feeling good about this, we're good, now we focus on this, now we feel bad again, I feel bad about that again. Do you see? We're in this beautiful energy of frequency. Where we focus, we vibrate. And if we're focusing on the beautiful things that bring us hope, love, joy, we'll vibrate there. Constriction, problems, challenges, we get smaller and tighter when we vibrate there. Easy, you already knew that. I see responsibility being taken. Okay. All right. Our energies sometimes affect us in surprising ways. So I wanted to talk to you about the various levels. So play with me if you will. Memory time. A long time ago, when you would go to the movie theater, you would stand in line, you would queue up, and you would watch all the people come out of the movie that you're going to go see, and you would rush in, ancient history now, you would rush in to find the best seats. Does anybody remember that? Something struck me many years ago when we were waiting to see a movie that had been touted as this fabulous movie. It was wonderful. We watched the people come out, and every one of them was stunned, and there was a stunned silence as they walked out. You know, the theater was packed, and we were there with our little children waiting to go in, and I'm looking at everybody going, I actually stopped two people. How was the movie? Was it okay? No, it was good. Okay. And it was this stunned energy. And I thought, well, the second person, it's the very same thing. They popped out of the stunned for a minute. They said, no, it was good. Back into the stunned, and off they went. So we walked into the movie. And it was a shocking, stunning movie. The movie was a good movie, but the reality was the glimmer of the happy ending was not enough to counterbalance the tragedy you went through during the story. It was so much, there was a tragedy. And everybody coming out of the theater was in shock because they could not balance the tragedy. Now, that's just a small example, but let's just walk with it for a minute. Do you realize that every single mind that walked out of that theater in that state had to process their experience? Every one of them had to go, what just went on? How do I counterbalance that in my chi? If it was an injustice, maybe I need to go fight for right. Maybe I need to find a battle and clobber somebody so I can validate that somebody got hurt, wrongly hurt. Do you hear what I'm saying? Maybe I need to go look at my situation and see if it mirrors that and get all riled up about that. But there is unprocessed information by the experience. They were in shock. They did not know how to process what they had been through. The mind focus, this is the mind focus. Where we put our energy and where we focus, our mind now is participating, and our mind has to make sense of it. Can you see how something like that might shift your frequency? We were happy campers going into the movie. Yay, it's a good movie, awesome. We come out, oh. Break is on. Don't know what I'm going to do with this. Let me be with it. Patrick and I have a little ritual that we do now. He's not even aware of it, but I need to do this. If we go to any movie, we wait until everybody has left. Then we sit and we chat about the movie for a minute. How did you like it? What did you think of that? I'm not going to leave the theater until I at least verbalize something to get the wheels going. But this is an example how the mind can so specifically focus on something that can take you out of your reality and affect your frequency. Is this clear? Okay. Yeah. For me, it was one of those moments that you just remember, and I know we've all had them. So I have another moment. There are times when by our soul choice or whatever choice, we are placed in environmental situations where our focus goes so minutely to the environment that we forget a lot of who we are. And one of my earliest memories of actually witnessing this was, I was probably 18. And my cousin was visiting us in Atlanta with his little wee family. He had a wife and a daughter. And he had just gotten back from Vietnam. So we're chatting it up. And he's telling me about living in a tent with some other soldiers. And apparently he was stationed in one place long enough that they had a pet rat that would come in and they would feed it and they would take care of it and they named it and it was their pet rat. I was horrified. I'm 18. My environment has not been such. And he looked at me and he said, it is a different world. And I've never forgotten that. It's a different world. The environment that he went into was so different from what I was familiar with that he adapted. He changed his frequency to match the environmental energy he was in. And this is the kicker. He's only 1 year older than I was. He was 1 year older than me and already had all these experiences that were so foreign to me. But how often do we find ourselves maybe trapped in a job that becomes so oppressive? Our vibration keys only to it. We do things or say things that are that we wouldn't in and of ourselves do. We become programmed to respond to that environment. Sometimes we do it. I know a lot of people intern. When you intern for anything, you're absorbed by your internship. You know, forget my family, forget anything else. My head's in the game. You know, we all have various experiences where the environment keys us and we respond. And it shifts our frequency of who we are. That is an example of how the earthly energy, the material around us, can affect us. Does that make sense? Yes. All right. So, spirit. When we go now to do we live with God? We can live in the environment and adapt and respond. We can live in our heads and adapt and respond. But can we live with spirit? You know, the one thing that Jesus Christ always did, no matter what book you pick up and read, he pulled away and meditated. When he met masters, they'd meditate for 7 days. When the people became so demanding, you need to heal me now, he would leave. Gotta go. Because they were not receptive. When there was too much chaos, he would go meditate by himself on the mountaintop, and his disciples didn't even know where he was. He always went back to spirit. In his energy, he was able to interact with the world, interact with the minds, but he always brought God into it. Do you see? Jesus was always bringing that beautiful light through his thought and through his reality, instead of adapting to and responding to the thoughts and the realities. Can you imagine if he was dealing mentally with a situation and the Pharisees are there and they're giving him a hard time, and Jesus knows the laws and he knows the books, he's read them all. And they know the laws and they know the books and they've read them all. Ooh, we would have had a debate that would have been awesome if he had wanted to go mind to mind with them. If he wanted to go tit for tat, I mean, they could have dissected and filleted the whole thing. And they would have had millions and millions of people just listening in because it would have been wonderful. But he didn't. He brought spirit. He said, this is what it says, and this is what it means. Let me bring God through the thought here. Bring God through. And then when the people would come and they would be caught in all their anxieties of being sick or being in poverty or whatever their physical anxieties were, what if he had taken on the needs of the people as a personal issue? Would we have gotten much of guidance from him? No, he said, okay, you created that. Now, let's bring God into that creation and see what you can do with it further. And to some people, he actually opened the coffers, they had a treasurer, so people donated to the missionary cause, to his work. He had rich women that funded him. He had rich women that funded him. Yes. Many people don't know that. It's biblical. It's in the New Testament. Rich women funded him. And he had a little treasure box, and Judas was the treasurer. And there's twice in the New Testament where he opens it up and says, give them all that money. It means nothing to us. God will take care of us. Give them that. No food? Let's multiply the food. He did not let the environment change his relationship. He brought God into the earth. He did not let the environment say, oh, we're all alone out here. There's a bunch of people. We have no food. Let's get small and let our energy contract and let's go into lack. And remember what his disciples said, send them all home. They're going to starve to death. Do you remember that? Yeah. And he said, no, don't send them home. Let's just feed them. Bringing God into that, into matter. So he brought spirit into everything that he did. So how can we do that? Don't you want to do that? Don't you want to bring that frequency of God into everything that you do so that you don't contract? Do you know what it feels like to be contracting? No. Okay, and is it good? No. And do you feel inspired when you're contracted? No. Yeah, don't you feel like it's all up to me and I'm all alone and I'm tight and I don't know how I'm going to make it? I feel that way when I contract. So we want to have the energy experience of this expanded consciousness. So the first thing every one of you will do is you'll say, oh, we can pray, right? Yes, and do you pray in the morning before you hit the road? Some yes, some no. Some, I don't know if I'm going to answer that question. What if every morning before you hit the road, before you engaged your mind, before you looked at your matter, what if every morning before you did that, you engaged with spirit? And you could meditate or pray or just align and just say, it's God, it's your world, flow through me, let it be an awesome day. Or whatever prayer you pray. How would that feel? Do you think that would lift your frequency a little bit? Yeah. Yeah, let me remind you, in the traditional prayer, when you're praying to God and you say amen, that does not mean over and out. And most people take it that way. Cutting off God, over and out, up to you, back to you, I'm on my way. What the word literally means is, everything I have just said, I will be faithful to. Everything I've just said, I will be faithful to. God, help me do this and this and this. Oh, I need to be faithful to letting God help me do this, this, and this. You see, whatever I've said, I'm now going to be faithful to. So prayer and meditation connects us with God. And I know if it's not a habit of yours, right now in your heart you're saying, I've heard that before, yeah, move on. But the reality is the truth. If you want to raise your frequency, if you want to be at that level of expansion, ask. ask. Turn your heart to God. The minute you say God, you cannot say God and not have your frequency lift. Just say God. All right, so we're prayer and connection. And I want to share a little story with you with permission. We, on our healing night, last Tuesday night, many of you may know Rachel, and she has a little daughter, Kira, and I think Kira's maybe 11, 12. And so Rachel shared this with us. Backstory. So, we have a children's program, and from the time they're tiny tykes, from the time they can stand up and join the group, every Sunday school class starts with centering and clearing and centering exercise, where they learn to go to God and have their little exercise they do, and they say, God, we ask that your love fill us. We sweep away anything that doesn't vibrate at your frequency. I don't know what words they use, but they're clearing their little energy fields, and they seal their energy fields, and now they have God love flowing through them. So it's their clearing and centering exercise that they go through every Sunday. So here's my story. Kira was at home with her mom, and she was not herself. Rachel said she was definitely somebody else's child. And she looked at Kira and said, "Are you okay?" And she said, "I am not. I have to go clear and center." So she went to her room, and she was gone a few minutes, and she came back, and her mom said, "Well," and she goes, "I'm better. It took me twice, though." And then on another occasion, Rachel was in a very bad mood, and she was washing dishes. And she just did not know which end was up. And Kira came in the room, and Kira looked at her and said, "Mom, you need to go clear and center." And Kira stepped up and continued doing the dishes that her mom was doing, so her mom could go do it. So she went and did the exercise and came back and was better, clearing and centering. Starting our day with that connection, re-upping our connection as we go when things become difficult, opening your heart and asking for God's love to flow through you. Realizing that you are in charge of your frequency. And let me tell you a little secret. When someone asks you, "Are you okay?" they have been feeling your energy for several moments before their mouth opens. And when you say to them, "No, I am fine," they know you aren't. Because they can feel you. They can feel your frequency. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine." "Okay, good for that. Good for you. Thanks for helping. Let me go do my thing over here." Not only are you in control of your frequency, but you draw by your frequency. You attract people to you by your frequency. When I was very, very young and very single, I knew that. And one time in particular, and I couldn't buy a date, okay? I could not pay someone to date me. I was downtown walking to my car, and this guy came out of nowhere. And he was all excited to see me. And he was like, "Oh my God, you're the best I've ever seen," blah, blah, blah. And he's talking away, and he's a nice guy. He was in the area of pharmaceutical salesman of some sort, blah, blah, blah. And I looked at him and I said to myself, "Cindy, where are you right now? You are as sad as you could possibly be." He is not responding to anything but your sorrow. So I said, "Thanks so much for being attracted to me. I needed that, but no thanks for the date." Because he was coming because of my vibration, which was at a lower frequency. It wasn't joyful and high. He wanted to save somebody. And I'm sure he was a great saver for somebody. Do you know? Don't you know I got in my car and lifted my frequency? Yeah. We're in charge. Where our thoughts go. What follows thought? Energy follows thought. When we invest energy in a thought, we are sourcing that thought. What returns to us? The energy of where we're investing our thoughts. And sometimes, I know it's hard. Sometimes when you're in the throes of an emotional moment, it's hard to shift your energy. Pray with somebody else. Call somebody. Pick up a nice book. Pick up the Bible. Pick up something that uplifts you. And do all you can to shift your mind. Shift your environment. Come to church. Shift your environment. You know, this is responsibility for your own frequency. We teach the clearing exercise always, to everybody because it's necessary to do. And I have this little demonstration, and Spirit asked me 2 months ago to show you guys during Sunday service. So I put on my little sweet dowsing rods this beautiful green stuff so you can actually see the rod. So I need a volunteer? Sarah. Sarah's going to stand right there. Now, can you guys see the rods? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Sarah, I want you to think about, I haven't even opened them yet. Oh, let's just get you regular. Just be there. Okay. Do you see the rods? This is the edge of her field, okay? All right. Sarah, I'm not touching them, I'm just holding them. I want you to think about a time when you felt so disempowered, so sad, so not able to function. And just feel. Just keep yourself, let yourself go there as deep as you can. She's so tight I can't get to the edge of her field. Okay? Now, Sarah, I want you to bring God into that. Bring God thoughts into that situation. Just realize God can make it okay. That very situation, breathe in. You don't have the answers. I don't have the answers. I'm just going to let Spirit move through. Just let it move. Now feel how much God loves you. Feel how loved you are by God. Okay? Just keep feeling it. How loved you are. It took her a minute to let God in the situation, didn't it? I mean, you did instantly, but not fully. Okay, I don't want to hit anything back here. Okay, I'm going to reset just to check her again. Oops. Remember where her energy field was? She's at least here. I can't go back any further. I'll trip on Rich's stuff. Thank you, Sarah. All right. Can you guys see how quickly you affect your field? When it is open, it is vibrating higher. It's vibrating lighter. And it's more receptive to good. Do you know you will be bypassed by the sad people if you're vibrating higher because they are seeking other sad people. So you vibrate stronger just by having God come into the thoughts, even the thoughts that are sad. You bring God into those thoughts. I don't know what to do, God. They're yours. And you let it go. Let it go. Was that helpful for some of you to see?
Yes.
And did you see how quickly? That's the power you have of your thoughts. That's the power you have to direct your energy. So, you ready to take that in? Yes. All right. Put your feet on. God, we ask that this beautiful light of yours begin to pour through us. And I would ask that each one of you just visualize a beautiful column of light coming over you. And imagine God love pouring through you. Go to your heart, in your mind, and just say, God, I open for your love to move through that which has bothered me. I ask that your love move through those ideas that lower my frequency, that limit my thoughts. And just take a moment and feel like a warm light moving through your heart. All you have to do is invite it in. I ask that God love move through. Now I allow that light of God's love to express through me. And feel the light pouring into your heart and opening your heart so you become bright. I am a child of God. I'm a child of God expressing good in the world. And you should feel your arc field expanding. I am a child of God. God, I ask you to bless each one so this feeling they feel now they can reference again. So that when they need to feel expanded, they can go here. And it becomes instant. And we thank you that we are always with you, held in your heart, always blessed. Feel that love, feel your gratitude, and let your focus now come back to your chair. Send love to your chair. I love you, matter that supports me. Send love to this building. I love you, building where we can come and gather, and to the property, the sacred space. Thank you, God, for heaven on earth, heaven within. And let us walk more aware of that every moment. And so it is. Take a breath. Send your love into the room. And when you're ready, you can gently open your eyes. All right. I know you have all heard the saying, seek the good and praise it. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. That, in and of itself, could be the little byline you use to remind you to lift your frequency. Seek the good and praise it is well deep within yourselves. Attach that thought to lift your frequency. And let's see how radiant we can be this week. Want to try?
Yes.
All right. Yay, God.
Yay, God.